Hi, this is Scotty, and this is the second in a series of 10-minute beginner videos. The first video I did was a sequence of seated positions, so seated in 6 directions, where we took the spine in 6 directions, so a cat-cow, side stretches, and the twists. And I believe that I said in the first video that the second video would most likely be a table in 6 sequence. However, I want to sort of back that up because what I realized I should have probably done before the first video was this video, which is talking about seated alignment and how this seated alignment that we work with can also lead up into our standing postures and some of our other asanas as well. So this alignment approach, these alignment techniques are something that I learned from my teacher and mentor, J.J. Gormley of Surya Chandra Yoga, Healing Yoga School. And I use it all the time. So I use it in teaching, and I also use it in my own practice. And in my own practice, it's just become so innate that I don't really think about it anymore. You can see my cat back there playing with the lights. So this is sort of a posture and some alignment techniques that I always use and always come back to. So this is going to start down in the sit bones. So there's 2 bones on your bottom. Feel those bones so you can rock a little bit side to side. And then imagine that you have strings attached to your sit bones. And those strings are pulling down through whatever you're seated on, so cushion, the floor, the earth, and they're pulling down, 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 down. And then you can imagine that either you or somebody else, like a puppet master, has control over those strings, and they're going to pull on those strings, so side to side. So if you pull one string more than the other, that sit bone goes down and you can feel yourself shift to that side. And same thing on the other side. If that sit bone pulls down a little bit farther, you can feel that side sinking down. So what you're looking for is this balance between your sit bones. So left side, right side, even. And for some of us, that may mean that one side actually does have to pull down a little bit more. Maybe that side has to be anchored a little bit more so that they become balanced, and you can play with that for yourself. And then you have the same thing from front to back. So imagine those strings attached to your pubic bone and tailbone, and that those are pulling down into the earth. And if you pull down on your pubic bone more, you can kind of feel yourself move into this arched position. And if you pull down on your tailbone more, you can feel yourself start to round out. But that movement is being initiated by your root chakra. Right? So tailbone and pubic bone moving you into a little back bend or a forward fold versus just moving from the shoulders. And you can try that even. So just move into a little cat-cow from your mid or upper back, and then see how that feels different from when you move it from your foundation, from your base. And then find that so that it feels like your tailbone and pubic bone are pulling down evenly and balanced. So this is going to bring you in a nice neutral position through your foundation. So if you lose that little piece at any time within the next bits of alignment cueing, remember you can bring that in easily. So just remember your anchors. So the strings are your anchors, and they're pulling you down evenly and balanced and supported into the earth. So keeping all that in mind, you're next going to just kind of take your worst posture. So I teach middle school and high school, so I like to think of this as taking our like teenage, middle school, high school posture where our head's forward and we're slouched, and like this is like the worst we can do. And then imagine that you have reins attached to the back of your neck. So if you're not familiar, you have a hyoid bone. It's a U-shaped bone here in your neck, and it has the 2 ending pieces of it are at the back of your neck. And imagine that you have strings attached there to the back of your neck, and those are your reins. So those reins are going to first draw you back towards the space or the wall behind you. So be controlled by those reins. They're just going to draw you back. And that's better, right? So I'm in a little more upright position. I'm still anchored down through my sit bones and my base, but I still am not very open and tall through my posture. So those reins have pulled me back, but now they need to pull up. So they're going to pull up across the back of my head and out through the crown of my head. So they've pulled back, and now they start to pull up, and they bring me into this nice upright position. But keep going. So keep going, keep going, keep going, keep pulling up and back. And do you notice what happens? You start to pull or push into this really hard, almost backbent position. And this doesn't feel good either for a seated posture. So you have to release just a little bit, back off of your edge just a little bit. Good. So your reins have pulled you back and up. Also, as your reins pull up and out through the crown of your head, just going to release your chin down slightly towards your chest, so you have this really nice long length in the back of your neck, the sides of your throat. And then we've got a couple more pieces to add on here. So just take a little roll open through your shoulders and bring attention to your collarbones. So your collarbones are going to kind of roll up and out, widening across your body. And then again, pay attention. If they start to open and widen too far, it starts to push the heart forward, right, into this hard heart opening that doesn't really feel so good. So you can back off the broadening and the opening of the collarbones just a little. And then this last piece is just so important. So you have the sternum in the middle of your chest, and the bottom of the sternum there's a little piece that looks like an arrow, and it's pointing down. And so you just want to go with that arrow and draw your sternum slightly down. So your sternum is dropping slightly down while you're still opening up and out through your collarbones. So in this way you start to feel this expansiveness in 4 directions, right? So up, down, side to side, versus sometimes when we're told to come into an upright posture, it's just up. And we pull up and we sit up and we try to sit here and stay here and be as open as possible. But what we're actually doing as well is closing off the back body. So we want this balance between front and back body, between top and bottom, and between keeping everything really soft and natural as well. So just in review, anchors attached to your sit bones, tailbone, pubic bone, all pulling down evenly, keeping you in this nice, solid, balanced foundation. Reins attached to the back of the neck that draw you back and up. And then this broad expansiveness in all 4 directions across the heart that allow you to really open and soften into this posture. And then in the first video that we did these seated in 6 directions. And so from this really nice upright posture, you'd keep all of that alignment in the body and move through those positions. So your cat-cow, your seated cat-cow then becomes that movement by pulling on the anchors attached to your pubic bone and tailbone. Right? And your side to side movements, as you're stretching to the side, you still stay anchored down through your sit bone. So both anchors stay solid into the ground instead of leaning over, popping that anchor up and off. Same thing in the opposite direction. Solid, pulling down into the earth evenly, or anchor lifting, and I'm not really getting that stretch through the side body. And then into the twists, keeping that soft expansiveness and openness through your heart, through your 4th chakra, even in the twists. So the collarbones are broad, they're slightly lifted, but you still have that little downward pull of your sternum, which is allowing everything to be nice and open, including your back body in that twist. So those principles then can also be taken into standing postures, which we can do at another time in another video. But working all of your movements from those alignment cues is really powerful on an energetic level, and just help to keep everything nice and clear and open in the body. So if you have questions, please let me know. I'm always happy to help and to go even further in depth on some of those alignment principles. Hope you enjoy. Namaste.